Hi guys! Today we're going to be reviewing Plainclothes, which is the directorial debut by Carmen Emmy. I saw this at Sundance. This was another film that I was really rooting for, especially since the plot really grabbed me. So let's actually dive into the movie. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but I'm going to go into some of the key moments in my mind, what I saw, what I think about it, and if it has any Oscar prospects, award season prospects. But yeah, let's get into it. So Plainclothes stars Tom Blythe and Russell Tovey. Tom Blythe plays this police officer slash detective who is tasked to basically capture homosexuals in bathrooms during the 90s. And it was a whole, big thing where a lot of gay people were discreetly having sex in bathrooms and other public places to, get their feelings out. And you obviously know the story about George Michael and how he was captured at this was a public place in a park with another man, and he was basically based about it because he just made a fun of the whole situation, made a song about it. But it's basically kind of like this story, except it's also kind of dealing with trauma and remorse and guilt, as this main character played by Tom Blythe is going through a lot of emotions. In the beginning, he is kind of frantic in his mind with the idea of him trying to capture these people in these public places. And eventually, in the first 20 or 30 minutes, you finally understand that this main character also went through the same thing, as he is a closeted homosexual, and he basically wrecked his marriage and is trying to escape from a lot of the baggage that happened in his marriage and become more of the person that he's supposed to be. The problem is that his family doesn't know that he's gay, and the rest of his friends are just kind of doing straight shit. But eventually the film starts to close itself in, and you start to see some of the cracks that fall apart with Tom Blythe's character. And then Russell Tovey appears out of nowhere as this older gay man who is seducing this younger gay man into a relationship, and it becomes very loving and beautiful and typical of these young to old gay relationships. And then eventually the film closes itself in with the idea of this man going through a lot of his remorse and guilt, and then eventually trying to figure out how to come out of the closet. But the movie itself, I've seen these types of movies before. I know where it's going to go in terms of the main character being in the closet and eventually coming out. But the thing that really, I think, kind of made me pay attention to the movie was the editing and the direction. This movie intersplices a lot of digital video, photography, and then just modern film cinematography. So you'll have scenes where the main character is going through all of these emotions, and you'll have a time jump or time flashback of this character's past, but it's shot on digital video or VHS. And then it would snap back to the 90s where everything's filmed on film. And I really like the jumps between digital video and then back to, typical film, because it really closes in on the character and the emotions of the overall movie. And it's basically played up a trick that you would see in, other films. Most notably, After Sun did this same thing, but it was more about memories and then just the idea of taking those memories and then kind of replaying them in your mind. And the same thing happens here, but it's played up more for thriller aspects. And then Russell Tovey, his performance in this movie is really cool and loving and sexy. He's being Russell Tovey, and if you've seen him in Looking, the TV show, you'll understand and know how he plays these types of characters. He's just very cute, and here he's trying to become this person to help this other main character guide themselves into out of the closet. And yeah, the relationship is really, really nice. Now, the problem that I do have with this film is, again, it has a lot of the coming out of the closet tropes that you normally see in these movies, and it's overplayed here. I was able to identify and tell where this movie's going to go from the first 30 minutes. But even then, I was still kind of paying attention to a lot of the stuff that was happening, especially with the editing and the direction. Where it ends is, I think, probably the best part of the movie, where I'll just say this, it pretty much ends in a family dinner fight, but I'm not going to spoil what happens. But it kind of reminded me of that episode of The Bear the Thanksgiving episode, I think it was, or like the Christmas episode where everybody's just like talking over each other and like fighting. Same thing happens here. Not going to spoil what happens, but the final shot of this movie is just like, wow, like that's a great ending. That's how you like end a movie. Wow, that's basically like this. But yeah, like I still enjoyed it. Again, I have some problems with like the overall tropes of, you know, the gay closeted aspect, but even then, the performances are really good. Russell Tovey and Tom Blythe put on like good performances. I've never seen Tom Blythe do anything like this, and I think this is probably one of his best roles that he's been in. And you should be looking out for him, especially with this movie. In terms of like award season prospects, I don't know. I really don't know. It really depends on whether or not this picks up a good distributor. I don't know who's going to like take it, because right now Sundance is going through a lot with titles being like dried up with distribution. But if it does get a good distributor, I think this movie can go places. But yeah, that's basically my review for Plainclothes. I hope you enjoy this video, and peace out.